Deborah, a prominent and exceptional figure in biblical history, was distinguished not only for being a prophetess but also for her crucial role as a leader and judge among the Israelites. Married to Lapidot, whose name in Hebrew resonates with the meaning of lightnings, Deborah herself bore a name that evokes the image of a bee, perhaps symbolizing her diligence and sharpness in handling the responsibilities entrusted to her. Her ability to resolve disputes and lead her people in critical moments was widely recognized, acting under divine guidance at every step she took. Deborah's story is interwoven with the power of faith and obedience to divine instructions, something that was evidenced in her interaction with Barak. At a crucial moment, described in the book of Judges, Deborah summons Barak and conveys to him a direct message from God. This message, detailed in Judges 4, 6, and 7, reads, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun and go up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River and give him into your hands." This passage illustrates not only Deborah's faith in God's promises but also her instrumental role in guiding Barak toward victory, highlighting her unshakable confidence in divine power and providence. Barak's response to Deborah, marked by his insistence that she accompany him into battle, reveals the high esteem and respect he had for her leadership and her connection with the divine. Barak understood that Deborah's presence symbolized a blessing and a guarantee of success, as narrated in Judges 4, 8, and 9, where he expresses, "If you go with me, I will go, but if you do not go with me, I will not go." Deborah, firm in her faith and commitment, agrees to accompany him, though she warns that the honor of the victory would not fall upon Barak but would be granted to a woman, foreshadowing the outcome of the battle against Sisera. In addition to her role as a leader and judge, Deborah stood out in the realm of poetry and music, contributing to the rich tradition of psalms within the Bible, a notable fact given the male dominance in the authorship of these sacred texts. Her song, one of the oldest and of significant historical importance, provides a unique window into the life and civilization of the Israelites in the 12th century BC, reflecting Deborah's deep spiritual and cultural connection with her people and her time. Rabbinic tradition adds another facet to Deborah's life, suggesting that she played a role in the maintenance of the lamps of the tabernacle, underscoring her dedication and religious service. The narrative of her life, intertwined with moments of challenge, faith, and leadership, resonates through the centuries as a testimony to the power of faith and obedience to God. In times of crisis, when Israel strayed and faced the consequences of departing from divine ways, figures like Deborah emerged as beacons of hope, guiding her people towards redemption and victory under God's providence. Her story, culminating in the liberation of Israel from the oppression of Jabin, king of Canaan, underscores the importance of wisdom, courage, and faith in the fulfillment of divine designs. The story of Barak, Deborah, and the battle against Sisera is an impressive tale of faith, obedience, and divine strategy, showing us the importance of following the leadership that God establishes, and of acting in accordance with His will. Barak's initial hesitation, who conditioned his participation in the battle on Deborah's presence, reveals a deep dependence on the guidance and support of those whom God has anointed with authority and spiritual vision. Despite his initial reluctance, Barak accepted the challenge, but with the condition that Deborah accompany him, demonstrating his recognition of the strength and wisdom that Deborah brought to the cause. Deborah, for her part, not only agreed to accompany Barak but also prophesied that the honor of victory would not fall on him but would be granted to a woman. This prediction not only underlines God's sovereignty in choosing the instruments of His will, but also highlights the significant role women can play in the execution of divine plans. the summoning of Barak to the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali, and the mobilization of 10,000 men under his command marked the beginning of a military operation that would be decisive for the future of Israel. Divine intervention was evident from the outset, as narrated in Judges 4:10-16, where Barak's advance and his forces resulted in the total defeat of Sisera's army, who was forced to abandon his chariot and flee on foot. The narrative highlights how, despite the enemy's technological superiority, represented by their 900 iron chariots, faith in God's promise and obedience to his commands can overcome any obstacle. However, the conclusion of this story is found in the decisive action of Jael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite, who, though not an Israelite, played a crucial role in Israel's victory. Jael's seemingly benign welcome of Sisera, followed by her lethal act of driving a tent peg through his temple while he slept, is not only a testament to her bravery and cunning but also fulfills Deborah's prophecy about the outcome of the battle. The account concludes with a powerful lesson on faith and obedience to God. The victory over Sisera and his forces led to the subjugation of Jabin, king of Canaan, marking a turning point in Israel's struggle for freedom and security. The alliance between the divine and the human, illustrated in this narrative, underlines a fundamental principle of spiritual warfare. The ultimate victory lies in the combination of human action guided by divine providence. The Song of Deborah and Barak, found in Judges 5, celebrates not only the physical victory over Israel's enemies but also the power of faith and praise. Through this hymn of gratitude and acknowledgement to God, Deborah continues to lead her people, not only as a judge and prophetess but also as an example of devotion and fidelity to God. This song resonates through generations, reminding us that in walking with God, obedience and praise are fundamental to overcoming challenges and achieving victory. The Song of Deborah and Barak, as recounted in the book of Judges, is a poetic and powerful expression of gratitude and recognition towards God for his intervention and victory over Israel's enemies. This hymn not only celebrates Israel's liberation but also reflects the unity and spirit of cooperation between the leaders and the people, who rose together in an act of faith and obedience towards God. At the beginning of this song, Deborah and Barak proclaim their intention to praise the Lord, inviting kings and rulers to listen to their song of victory. This opening sets the tone for the song, underlining the magnitude of what God has done for Israel. The remembrance of how God's presence made the earth and heavens tremble during their march from Seir and across the fields of Edom illustrates the divine power backing his chosen people. These images of nature responding to the divine command highlight God's sovereignty over creation and his ability to influence natural and human events in favor of his purposes. As the song progresses, a reflection on the difficult times experienced by Israel, when people avoided the main roads and life in the villages was precarious, is made until Deborah rose as a mother for Israel, symbolizing her role as protector and spiritual leader. This period of adversity was exacerbated when Israel, by choosing new gods, found themselves defenseless against their enemies, a reminder of the consequences of turning away from God. The song praises those in Israel who volunteered to fight, highlighting the importance of heart disposition and commitment to God's cause. The song also criticizes the tribes of Israel that did not participate in the fight, pointing out the indecision and lack of action of Reuben, Gilead, Dan, and Asher. This rebuke underscores the expectation that all God's people must come together in times of need, setting aside their personal interests to support the common good. On the other hand, Zebulun and Naphtali are praised for risking their lives on the battlefield, demonstrating the courage and fidelity that God expects from his followers. The victory over the Canaanite kings near the waters of Megiddo is attributed not only to human valor but also to celestial intervention, with the stars fighting from heaven against Sisera. This poetic representation emphasizes that the battle was both a spiritual and physical struggle, where the forces of nature and the divine aligned to ensure Israel's triumph. The account of how Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, defeated Sisera, is central to the song, celebrating her cunning and bravery. By offering him hospitality only to end his life, Jael becomes the embodiment of divine justice, acting as God's instrument to deliver victory to Israel. This act not only fulfills the prophecy that a woman would receive the honor for the victory, but also highlights the crucial role individuals willing to act in faith and obedience to God can play. Finally, the song concludes with an invocation for God's enemies to perish, while those who love Him shine with the glory of the sun in its strength. This desire for peace and prosperity, which materialized in 40 years of tranquility for Israel, underlines the relationship between fidelity to God and the well-being of His people. The story of Deborah, Barak, and the victory over Sisera and Jabin is a powerful testimony of how faith, obedience, and acknowledgement of God as the source of all victory can transform desperate situations into astonishing triumphs. The attitude of gratitude and praise that Deborah embodies and promotes is essential for walking in harmony with God, ensuring His favor and ongoing protection. This song, therefore, is not just a reminder of a historical event but also a guide for faith and spiritual practice in the life of believers. Psalm 92, a hymn of gratitude and praise, teaches us the importance of recognizing and celebrating God's goodness and faithfulness in our lives. This biblical passage highlights how the act of giving thanks and singing praises is not just a spiritual duty but also a source of deep joy and personal satisfaction. By declaring God's unconditional love in the morning and His faithfulness at night, we are invited to reflect on His constant presence and protective care at every moment of our existence. The use of musical instruments, such as the 10-stringed lyre, harp, and lyre, suggests a solemn and meditative celebration of God's works. Music in this context becomes a vehicle for expressing the joy and awe that His wonders awaken in us. The observation of God's handiwork not only inspires gratitude but also encourages us to sing joyfully, recognizing His greatness and creative power. The teaching on gratitude as an antidote to pride is particularly relevant. By failing to sing songs of victory and to thank God for His intervention, we run the risk of allowing pride to take root in our hearts, which could lead to situations where we will be forced to seek God's help again. Humility, in contrast, paves the way for us to be exalted by God, while pride leads to humiliation. The reference to Deborah and her leadership in Israel illustrates how gratitude and acknowledgement of God as the source of all victories were key to her continued relevance and success. Similarly, David, through his Psalms, shows us that gratitude was an essential component in his relationship with God, strengthening his faith and leading him to numerous victories. Respect for oneself and others is highlighted as a fundamental step to earning the respect of others, a principle exemplified by Deborah. Her ability to inspire and lead Israel in times of crisis, as well as her willingness to recognize the contributions of others in victory, demonstrates the importance of humility and teamwork in effective leadership. The contribution to the success of others, a respected leadership trait, is illustrated through Deborah's unconditional support for Barak and the Israeli troops. By providing them with leadership, resources, and most importantly, the divine promise of victory, Deborah played a crucial role in the liberation of Israel from Canaanite oppression. Her strategy and vision not only ensured military success but also cemented her place as a revered and respected leader in Israel's history. the final prayer underscores the importance of maintaining an attitude of gratitude, regardless of the level of growth or leadership one experiences. Choosing to celebrate God's mighty acts and moving forward with His wisdom and favor is crucial to avoid falling into pride and losing our place in the destiny He has for us. In times of struggle, many find comfort and strength in biblical verses that remind us of God's presence and power. A frequently turned to verse is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This verse resonates with the idea that regardless of the challenges we face, our strength comes from our relationship with Christ and our trust in His ability to guide and sustain us. And so we come to the end of this presentation. Thank you for being part of our channel, a space where we seek to share wisdom and reflections on faith. I send you a warm greeting and a big hug. Until next time, and may God bless you.